Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks, and welcome to our EGU podcast for the awakening and emerging spiritual entrepreneurs, bringing you all you need to thrive. I am Michelle Reinhardt, your host and creator of Entrepreneurs Globally Unite online community, and I'm excited to introduce you to today's guest, whose favourite topics are attracting clients and growing a thriving business, and she's also a manifestation pro. So don't go anywhere. Grab a pen and paper, folks. Turn off your zings and pings for 30 minutes. Turn on your undivided attention and turn it inward. Drop into your heart space and listen deeply to get the jewels of wisdom this lady has to share. Get set for some fun and a whole lot of new ideas as I welcome to the show Kathryn Yarborough of Flowing with Change.
Hi, Michelle. I'm so excited to do this with you.
I'm excited too, and a little birdie tells me this is your first ever podcast appearance, so that is exciting.
Well, it's actually not my first ever podcast experience. No, I don't know what I said that gave you that impression, but I'm just happy to be here with you, though. It's my first with you, that's for sure.
Well, that is for sure, absolutely. And we've been following each other around online for a little while now, so there's a lovely amount of mutual respect. So it's great to have you. Now, folks, Kathryn is the host of one of the most engaging and interactive Facebook communities that I've come across, Heart-Based Entrepreneurs Group. She's a manifesting abundance coach. And Kathryn, to get the ball rolling, I'd love for you to share your journey with our listeners and how Flowing with Change has helped you and so many others.
Well, I would be delighted to share a little bit about my journey. Just interrupt me if I go on because it is about me, so it's always fun to talk about ourselves.
The floor is yours. Go right ahead.
So let me just say, similar to what you just said, currently I'm focused on really helping heart-based entrepreneurs attract clients, and I'm coaching and I offer a few other programs throughout the year. But what got me to this place is, well, the longer story shortened is that when I was in my 20s, I knew that what we all needed for wholeness, for us to be our best selves and have the greatest life that we could, I just knew it. I had gotten like a download when I was about 23 or 24, but I knew that we needed to integrate our body, mind, emotions, and behavior. I wasn't really thinking about spirituality back then. But I was confused. I really didn't know how to do my life. I didn't know how to share this with people. I had gotten a master's degree in dance, and I didn't know how to make money, so I waited tables. I got jobs as an aerobics instructor. It was a challenging time for me, and I also was dealing with my own stuff. I used to have experience depression and junk like that. So I did a lot of my own self-healing, as well as, I learned stuff, I talked to people, etc. And then in my 30s, I got to go back to school to become a dance movement therapist. And I completed that training and worked in a hospital setting for a little over 4 years as a dance movement therapist. I worked with people with psychiatric issues as well as eating disorder issues, and actual eating disorders. And that was fascinating, but it wasn't exactly what I really wanted. It wasn't it. And so I decided to start a private practice as a dance movement therapist. And to do that, I went to the library and I got books out on marketing and, learning how to do this stuff and how to get clients. And so I did that, and I learned and I applied what I learned, and I started attracting clients. And then different things happened. I was on a spiritual journey, et cetera, et cetera. And a few years later, I was inspired to start sharing what I had learned in terms of the manifestation work and the marketing work with other heart-based entrepreneurs. I started teaching it, and this was back like around 2006, 2007, and I added this whole element to my private practice, which was face-to-face at the time in Maryland. And that was all great, and I grew this thriving private practice. I loved helping heart-based entrepreneurs, but then this little birdie kept going, create things online. And Michelle, I had no idea how to do that, and this was like 2010, and that was when I was seeing these people, and they were saying, oh, I can make so much money. I'm like going, well, maybe I could do, but I really don't know how to do it. And I started recording meditations and set up a website, and oh my goodness, I floundered. And there was other things. I was on this very committed spiritual journey, and anyway, lots of things happened since then, where I did a lot of stuff online, and I did learn how to create courses and programs. I got on Facebook. I learned a lot about Facebook, which now led me to the point where I created the Heart-Based Entrepreneur Group on Facebook, which you mentioned, and have been able to really get that community growing and going really well. It's really a wonderful place to be. And so anyway, that's the sort of long story. Maybe about a year and a half ago, I got the inspiration to grow my private practice again, because I hadn't been seeing private clients. I had been focused on working on creating courses and selling them. And so about a year and a half ago, I changed my direction, and I'm now seeing clients, and it's fun, and it's interesting, and it's all this big journey. So that's enough about me.
You know what? I love what you're saying, and I feel that the online world has flipped back again for you, because you must have missed your private clients. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I didn't for a long time, Michelle. I'm one of these people who really gets these impulses. Like, I got that message to do stuff online. And even before that, when I was working in the hospital setting, it was like, this isn't it. This isn't the right thing. I need to find the right thing. And so for several years, every time I checked in with myself about seeing private clients, I just felt this huge no. And it was like, nope. And I always had like one or maybe at the most two clients always going on, yep. Just seeing a few. But then this thing shifted, and it was like, and actually I do remember the point in time and I had just learned something, and it was like, oh, I don't need to really explore my own work anymore. I know what I need to know. And now, okay, I'm ready to work with individuals again. It was very interesting.
What did you learn, Kathryn? Can you share that?
Yes. So this ties into the work that you had asked about, the getting present with money, and the money webinar that I had posted about. I have this really wonderful, and if anybody wants the link, I can make sure we get it to people. Actually, I think it's flowingwithchange.com/money webinar. So people can just go to that. So approximately 2014, I launched this 5-step breath practice. I had gotten out of all of that stuff that happened, I got really broke. And I was struggling with money. So beginning the end of, I don't know when it was, somewhere around January, I got on my hands and knees and I said, please, God, help me. I mean, I was crying, I was sobbing, I was really challenged with my financial situation. And I said, please help me. And within a few days, I was inspired with this 5-step breath practice that the money webinar, I teach in that money webinar. I created a Getting Present with Money program that uses that 5-step breath practice. And that 5-step breath practice basically heals the split between money and the divine. So you do these 5 steps, and as you're doing the breathing and you're thinking about money or something related to it, your issues, your sensations will come up, and you're able to release them and open it. And so energy will start to flow between your body, heart, mind, energy field, and all of existence. And so what happened for me is I had been working with that for, 2 to 3 years. And this next level came, which is what I call the 7-step abundance shift. And that's when I practiced just shifting and having that flow happen, the flow between body, heart, mind, energy field, and all of existence. And then I also think of white light, and I have white light flow in and flow through me, and I release to the white light, and I flow with it, and I let go of everything. And, it's an instant thing of letting go of all past so I can be right on the pulse of change as it's happening now. Hence, I've stayed attached to flowing with change, even though lots of things have changed. But that's it. That's the experience of going with the white light, is just being right on the pulse of change. And so when that happened, when I got really clear, and it was like, oh, I need to keep practicing. I'm not fully awake yet. I mean, I'm not an enlightened being, even though I've had moments of awakening and moments of enlightenment. I need to keep practicing, and this is one of the practices I'm going to do. But it was like, oh, but Kathryn, you don't need to do your own, keep uncovering for yourself. This is it. You've got your answer here. I mean, it's not the answer, but it's an answer that I needed. Yeah. And so it was like, oh, okay, now I can work with people and help them.
Wonderful. And that process, how long does it take to go through that 7 steps?
Well, so this was really cool, Michelle, because I had been practicing it with the 5-step breath practice and the meditations. Those meditations are 30 minutes, and it's like builds up the muscles of it.
Yes. Yes.
And so now my intention is to do the 7-step shift in like a minute.
Fantastic.
So, and I don't always do that. Sometimes I do it in a second.
Okay.
So it's fascinating. And I think my intention, not I think, but what's unfolding is my intention is to be there all the time, is to be in that flow all the time. But what comes up is the feeling of what I think of as standing on your own hose, when life happens and your buttons get pushed, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of our listeners that are nodding as well. There are buttons that are there to be pushed to teach us lessons so that we can learn and grow and evolve. And it may not be pretty. It very often is very, very uncomfortable. But they're the ones that we need to get off the hose and let things flow.
Exactly. And I will say for you, which you probably know this, but also for your listeners, I have done years and years and years of personal growth work. I do not want to suggest to anybody that in a minute that they would push aside any feelings and just let go of that discomfort or upset about a situation. I do believe it's important for us to do our healing work. And I wouldn't be able to do this kind of a shift in a second or a minute if I hadn't done tons of work. I mean, not that everybody has to do tons of work, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I totally agree. And I think I know myself, I've been on the personal development journey for 30 years. And it has been a very enlightening journey. And yes, things are getting quicker in our universe as our collective consciousness evolves. Things are getting much quicker. Time, space, dimensions are collapsing for those of us that have done the work. But Kathryn, what are some of the most common blocks to manifestation that you come across? How do you actually help people get unstuck and clear them?
Well, I think, Michelle, so that's a couple of questions, but I think one of the biggest things that we do is that, well, two of the biggest things. One, we don't know what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And two, we forget what we want. And we go back into focusing on what we don't want, and thinking that just is what is. Even people who know a lot about manifestation. So I would say, from my perspective at this moment in time, the biggest obstacle is our cultural bias that what is what's going to continue to be created. And I mean, if you ever watch an Abraham Hicks video and the people are talking to Abraham, Abraham.
Oh, I do. Yes, I do. He was where I started, actually, I must admit.
Yes, yeah, lovely work, beautiful work. And, but, even the people there who are spending a lot of time there, that's what it's all about. We forget. So that's the biggest thing that comes to mind in terms of what I do to help people. I would probably say in my coaching with clients, I can tell you about some of the block clearing things, but the biggest thing I'm doing overworking, because I work with people for a period of time, for several months, is reminding them of what they say they want.
Yes, okay.
And saying again that it's possible. So yes, so I teach that. I have a few different exercises that I teach folks. I'm not a tapper. I don't do tapping, and I know a lot of people do that, and they love that. So that's not something that I do with people. But so there's different things that can be done. I'd have to have a more specific. Right now, I feel like I want a more specific thing to share. Any other specifics
to help people shift things?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's say, for example, because I love the story that you mentioned. Like on 2010, you started creating online. So, for example, you've got someone. We'll use myself for an example. Got lots and lots of ideas, lots and lots of content, but have no clue how to get a course started, how to actually get online. Something would be holding you back from making that step. Maybe it's fear of being seen, fear of success, any of those sorts of things. How might you approach any one of our listeners to actually fine-tune that, get the ball rolling, so to speak, and get themselves online?
So let's say you were a client and that was really a true situation, which it may be, and I have no idea. Okay. So what I would do is, first of all, let's actually break that down into action steps.
Okay.
Which sounds not very law of attraction or manifesty, but sometimes with something like that and with marketing and with the different things that we have to do, sometimes it's just lack of knowledge of what needs to happen. And I would say that maybe we don't have the knowledge because we've got the blocks and resistances. But I would start, if it was with you, especially because I know you and you're an incredibly capable woman and intelligent and brilliant, wonderful. I would say, well, let's pick a piece, let's get it going, make a decision, move forward with it. And along the way, what's going to happen is we're going to see where you have any kind of blocks or resistances.
Yeah.
And so that's when we'll have to work with them. And it really depends on the person and how honest they are with themselves and with me, too, sometimes, how far we can go with that. And that's fascinating to me, too. And ultimately, what we want to get to is a place where we are committed to helping our ideal clients, committed to doing the work, and believe that it is possible. And when we're in that place, then there's nothing that will stop us. When we're 100% committed. But
and this comes back to what you said, with most people don't know what they want. And it's so true. I ask that of my clients. Because I do energy and mindset healing transformations, I can have a client sitting here and I'll say, what can I do for you? What what's your ideal? And they'll say, I want to get better. And it's like, what is better for you? What does it look like for you? Because there could be just, it can be so many different things, but unless people truly have a destination in mind, they are not going to get there. So I think that the very first and most important thing, as you said, straight up front, is figure out what you want. Now, you mentioned action steps there. Yeah.
Well, let me speak to that a little bit more,
yes,
because for you and for me and for anybody else on this call, if you aren't sure what you want, and I'm going to say, I said about a year and a half ago I decided to start seeing clients again. I am still tweaking my vision about what that looks like. And I'm getting closer. But what I want to suggest to people is the possibility that they start with, maybe it's even a feeling. So yeah, I mean, if they're at the point where they're with you and they're talking to you, and I want to get better, but they say I want to get better, they may need to sit with that feeling idea for months.
Yeah.
And I wish it was faster, Michelle. And I don't know, I think there's this thing where it's really easy to be in complaint or upset or life isn't what we want it to be. But there's something really hard about going towards giving ourselves permission to want stuff. And we're just so not used to that. Most of us. I'm sure that there are some people who were raised in a small percentage, maybe one, who had parents who said yes to them, and they were able to vision a world, and they got proper boundaries that enabled them to have a good structure within themselves, and at the same time, they were supported to go for what they want. And most of us didn't get that. So for you to say, okay, I want to help you go somewhere. That's what I'm saying to my people, except it's more specific about I want to help you attract clients. And, let's vision that together. So my suggestion is to start with something like, I want to feel better, or, just today, I was realizing as I vision my business and my private practice, I want to feel liked and appreciated. I often start with, I see a certain number of clients a week, but that doesn't meet this thing. And I want to be of service. I want what I'm doing to make a positive. So those are places to start. And as you hold that possibility, okay, so I am liked and appreciated. What does that look like? What am I doing? How are people responding to me? And as you do something like that, play with a particular type of feeling and you stay in there enough, you'll start to see pictures, and you can be able to put words to what it could look like. And then you've potentially got a vision of something you can truly manifest.
So we've got to open the door to possibility based on our feelings and how we want to feel when we're doing what we're here to do. And I know that sounds so super broad.
Yes.
But you've just got to open your mind to the possibility that you can have anything and everything that you want in life. And
yes.
Plant that seed. And then it's almost like working backwards. Would that sound right?
Yes, based on what we're talking about right now. Now, I will say that it may make more sense for a specific person, like let's say we go back to you in your situation, and there's something inside of you where you want to create online courses. And, if that was the case, I would say, well, let's start with that. So, all right, by the end of July, you're going to have your first online course out there and selling, let's say. So that's the goal we'll work with. That's the vision we'll work with. And then, because sometimes we do have those specifics. So we work with that specific and, clear any resistance to it. I have this wonderful commitment exercise I teach people, and then take the aligned action that's there to take. And then we learn by doing. And so maybe when you have that course up and people have bought it, different things have happened, if you have that experience, you can go, wow, I really like this. I want to do more of it. Or, oh, this wasn't what I had hoped. Really what I'm looking for is more interaction, more being in front of people in person, something. Through the doing, we learn, and we get that contrasting experience that so many law of attraction people talk about, so we can discover more what is right.
The law of attraction. That's another topic for another conversation another day. I'm sure we could speak on that one for a whole week. Kathryn, I know you do have some wonderful tips on manifesting abundance. Would you be able to share perhaps your top 2?
Well, I have to tell you, the truth is I'm better at talking about attracting clients than manifesting abundance. It's interesting. I made a shift to really, I know I've got 2 Facebook pages. One is focused on manifesting abundance and the other on attracting clients. And I have pulled my energy out of the manifesting abundance. But be that as it may, if we come to abundance, I can talk about it. I love abundance.
And it can be abundance. Abundance is not just money. It is clients.
It's not.
It is happiness. Yeah. It's joy. It's peace. It's all of those things. It is. So let's go. Top 2.
Okay. So abundance is always here. And so one of the ways I can tune into abundance is by just being outside and connecting with the trees and the sky. And so a lot of people have that definition that abundance is about money and having enough money. My definition of abundance is that it's when we are tuned in to the abundance of all of existence. So we are one with all that is, rather than in separate self, rather than feeling disconnected. So you can be rich and abundant, or you can be rich and in scarcity mode, or you can be poor and abundant, or poor and in scarcity mode. So wherever you are, I really recommend that you choose abundance. It feels better. And the other thing, besides being out in nature and just tuning in to this abundant universe, is to practice gratitude. Gratitude turns on abundance faster than anything else. If you live in a state of gratitude, you will be abundant. It just is. So that's my 2 top tips there for you, Michelle.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. Now, for those that are still trapped in that scarcity and fear of lack and scarcity, how do they shift that? Because, yes, feelings are, and for anyone that's not familiar, feelings are a frequency and a vibration, and if that's what you're putting out to the universe, it's like a boomerang. It's going to come straight back at you in exactly the same form. So we need to shift that frequency. How do we do that when we're so hard and stuck in doom and gloom? So there's 2 things I want to share. One is gratitude again. Yeah.
It can be challenging when you're in fear, when you're depressed, when you're feeling shame, when you're feeling angry, all of those more negative, lower vibrations. It can be very hard to find gratitude, but I recommend that you find one thing, the blue sky, the sunshine, food on your table, whatever. There's always something to be grateful for, and it will shift you a bit. I'll share 3 things. The second thing is to breathe. If you are in fear, your breath is shallow. And so breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, just for the most relaxing, clearing breath is my recommendation. And I am an integrative breath worker. And lastly, get my money webinar. Okay, it's free. Yeah. I mean, I do teach a program, and you can pay me money for that, but you can do the experiential that's in there. It's a 15-minute, approximately, guided meditation. People have healing experiences. I redid it again this last week, and I've gotten a few emails just in this past week from people who did my free webinar and said, thank you so much. It was just so helpful. So I really recommend that people just do it. And you can listen to that as many times as you want.
Yep.
Just, once you've heard the whole part about how to do it, you can just go back to that thing. And it's helpful for your breath. It's helpful for healing any sense of scarcity or money issues.
Fantastic.
And, yeah.
And we'll have that link in the show notes below for anyone that's ready to break that habit, because it is a habit.
It is.
And it's deeply ingrained and it's attached to our core belief systems, that which we believe to be truth, and it is not.
It is not.
Exactly right. And as soon as we can help as many people as we can shift that, we can start to see some true miracles happen in the world, because everyone starts to step up and shine. And that is what we do, and that's what we love what we do, isn't it?
Absolutely. I love it, Michelle.
Yeah, for sure. Kathryn, we only have a couple of more minutes, so I'd love to offer you the opportunity to tell people how they can find you and where they can click into your network. We did mention it earlier, but it's always good to do so at the end of the show while people are getting ready to take their next steps.
So you can find me on Facebook, and there's the Heart-Based Entrepreneurs group. So just just Facebook, and then type in Heart-Based Entrepreneurs, and you'll find that. I also have my page, which is Attracting Clients with Kathryn Yarborough. And that's the one, if you're a heart-based entrepreneur, to go to. And then you can find me on my website at flowingwithchange.com. And feel free to message me anytime. There's a place there under contact, and you can send me a message anytime if you have a question about any of this.
Thank you, Kathryn. I guess just to summarize for everyone, our talk today has very much been about tuning into abundance in all ways, shapes and forms, and helping you to do that. We have some great tools and tips that Kathryn shared. 3 hot tips. Step out into nature. I personally have a very lovely relationship with the mountain that's out my back door. Anytime I'm feeling a little low or flat or just out of sorts, I hightail it up there. So that's awesome. Gratitude. We can't stress that enough. And if you're really in the hardest, darkest, deepest parts of your world, I will say that there are a lot of us that have been there and a lot of us that have gotten our way out of there. So find one thing that will shift you. Kathryn mentioned the blue sky. Look at the birds. Just tune in and breathe. And Kathryn's very kindly offered you a manifestation shifting tool that is in the show notes below to help you do that. What a beautiful conversation. It's not quite exactly what I don't think either of us had in mind, but when we tuned in at the start, we did ask the big fella to guide us, and it's happened as it's happened, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I'm equally deeply grateful for your time, Kathryn, and for your presence. The way you show up to serve is an inspiration, and I would highly encourage all of our listeners to tap in to the resources that Kathryn's offered you, to her network. You can find me as well at Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, and Kathryn's in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love coming to your group.
Oh, I love having you there. It's beautiful there. Yeah, we become really good friends in there, and it's lovely to be in a space that is supporting and nurturing your growth. Mm-hmm. And it's a safe place, and that's where we need to go when we're ready to step up and make shifts in our lives. So click into networks that feel good, and also just take the time to sit and plan where you want to be. You are a beautiful creation, and we would love to do whatever we can to help you shine. Mm. So thank you, Kathryn, for all that you bring into our collective consciousness, and to our listeners and the EGU tribe. That's it from us for the week. So until next week, shine bright, superstars, because that is why you're here. Thank you, Kathryn. Blessings into your week.
Blessings.
Bye.